We thank my man Joe for actually organizing this impromptu because it's been a bit of a hectic moving process because the old studio had to basically shut down, and now we are at a precise secret location for our mission base. So yeah, thank you, Joe. He's in a bit of a hurry, and he's got actually a show as well going on tonight, right, at a venue.
Yeah.
Where is it at?
Lounge 29.
Oh, where?
Lounge 29 in Suriname.
Lounge 29 in Suriname. And so if you want to take your missus out, groove a little bit, just take her out right now. He's going to be starting at 10 o'clock, if I recall. So, yeah, thank you, big man Joe. And, but yeah, listen, people, I have something special for you today. You don't see a lot of, let's say, athletes from our neck of the woods, If people know where I'm from, you can guess. If not, I'm from Eritrea, but I was born in Ethiopia, and I consider myself basically just an Abyssinian. I like to use that word. And my Tigrinya brother right here, Mr. Rafael Ekroos in the building.
Yeah, what's up?
What's going on, my guy? Just give the people a little bit of a sample of who you are.
Well, long story short, I'm a father, I'm a fighter, I'm a coach, I'm a friend.
I like that. The FFFs.
Yeah. And I haven't been actively fighting for 6 years now. I've been coaching and been concentrating on building my business and other stuff. But actually, now I've been thinking that maybe I'm gonna make a comeback. It was the national championships of boxing today. Today were the finals.
By the way.
Yeah. I was just watching. I was looking at those weight categories I could go into, and I was looking at the competition like, they look aight.
Yeah.
They look aight, but they're not all that.
No.
But honestly, like,
you're gonna take these kids to school, huh?
yeah, like honestly, like being a fighter, it's a tough job. You've been. I was in your last fight. I saw it, and it's a 24/7 job. Like, and now at this moment in my life, when I got kids, I got responsibilities. The reason to go back into fighting, it has to be bigger than just to boost my ego.
Right?
Yeah. I have to find a bigger reason. So I'm still looking for that reason, but I'm back in the gym. I'm working on top of the coach, and I'm working myself. I'm sparring with the guys in our gym, and I'm waiting for a reason.
Wait, what gym you at right now?
Now I weigh like 95, so
Yeah.
I'm still overweight. I'm still going down, but I say like I'll be in 92, so that's like cruiserweight. Or then I'd be, if I really want to tie it up, I would go like 86, which
That's
is
what you were back in the day, right?
I was when I won my national title and stuff. I was in 81. At that time, we didn't have a weight category called 86, so it's a new thing, and it could have worked perfect for me because I had to cut not much, but like painfully enough to get myself into 81. So that 86 would, for my body type, it would be imperfect. And now I think like if I could take 10 more kilos off this, I'd be like ripped.
No, but you look like a mountain.
Thank you, brother. Bro. Now
Ain't nobody crossing paths with you.
No, thank you. I respect that, man. And but it was a long time. Like after I quit boxing, like I quit competing, I really didn't enjoy training because I did it so much that after that, it was hard for me.
You felt saturated.
And I felt like because I had done it so much and such a serious mentality, and after that, just to do sports for the fuck of it, it didn't give me the same vibe, because when you train for a fight, the vibe is completely different. You're going to war. But when you just train to look good naked, I don't. That's why I never been a big gym guy. I'm more like a different kind of sport. Boxing or all whatever sports, but just to look like you're in shape, it's not a big enough reason for me to go.
But you would look in shape as a consequence of the sport.
Exactly.
So, but you do not prioritize the aesthetic aspect of being
exactly.
That makes sense though.
yeah. But yeah, that's a long story short. I don't know. I've known you for a very long time, but while I was driving here,
bro.
yeah, while I was driving here, I couldn't remember. Like, I think you knew my brother before me.
Of course, Johannes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, like we were acquainted through, Comin and those
Yeah,
guys.
yeah.
Because me and those guys go way back from Peruscodo days.
Okay,
So,
okay, yeah.
But like he used to, I remember I used to see him in his breakdance sessions. In
Yeah,
Kista Halle.
yeah. He's still at it. I think he's
Is
still
he?
yeah, he's still breakdancing. He's living in Holland, but yeah, I think
Did he move to
Netherlands.
Sweden at some point?
Yeah, he was doing his university there, but now he lives in Netherlands.
Okay.
Yeah.
You still link up with him sometimes?
Yeah. Of course, he's my brother.
So like, okay, the funny story. I remember a phone call that me and you had actually back in, I think it was October 2011. Don't ask me how I remember. Okay,
Mm.
I just have these. When I have, let's say, very impactful conversations with people that like last, I will remember them. I remember you tried to basically goad me in, and you did in a way when you encouraged me to pursue boxing. But at that time, me being youthful, not really knowing my place in the world, still had other things in my life I was juggling with. Let's just don't want to get into the details, but a lot of headaches. I didn't really take it seriously. I dabbled with it a little bit for like 3-4 months, but then I sort of strayed away. But I was always watching you on the sidelines, always, whether it's in the news or on social media. Your name was popping left and right, and that always filled me up with pride, bro. Because as I said in the beginning of the show, when one of us, like in a way, from our neck of the woods, sort of makes it up there, for me, it leaves immense satisfaction. I feel so proud. I feel like I'm winning, basically.
Yeah. And it's a good point when you said that there's not so many Habeshas who go into combat sports.
Because they could be killers, bro.
Yeah, definitely. We got
They're
we
fighting
got
for the most random things already,
yeah,
Like,
and we got that warrior mentality.
Yeah.
But I think it's like a lot of, like, my dad, he didn't support me when I started boxing. He didn't want me to box, but like,
Was it the social stigma?
yeah, and it's like, they're like, why don't you become doctor or engineer? Why are you fighting? You could be studying, but probably many of them, they don't understand, like, what does fighting bring to you in a mental, in a spiritual level. Like, when you train hard and you prepare yourself for going one-to-one with a man, like, for me personally, before I started boxing,
What was actually the thing that sort of the catalyst to what led you to pursue this path? What?
Well, man, I was like this kind of a hood kid. I was maybe on a straight path, if I could say.
Although you always struck me as a civilized person as well.
Yeah.
I knew you were, always roaming a little bit.
Yeah. Man,
But, like-
maybe it was more of my friends. I was the nicest one in that group.
Yeah.
Some of my friends, they were crazy. And sad to say, many of those guys, some of them are not with us. Some of them are really in a bad path and in jail and stuff. And I'm really just so thankful and blessed to
You found a
I
path,
found a path, and that path was boxing for me, because at the beginning, when I found boxing, the gym I went to, it was in Kontula, and there's this underground in the same place where there's this skateboarding hall.
Yeah.
So one of my friends, shout out Ali, he went to there, and there was a youth house upstairs, and every time I was there, I used to smoke cigarettes back in that time, and I used to see Ali, and he said, yeah, I'm going to boxing. I said, man, I want to come one day. And he said, come. And I said, every time I saw him, I told him I want to come one day. He said, okay, next Friday, come.
Yeah.
And I went, and I liked it. It wasn't like love at first sight, but I was a little bit chubby, and I wanted to drop some weight, so I kept going. It was like, first year I just went twice a week, and it was good because it was like Mondays and Fridays. To this day, still my coach is running it Mondays and Fridays. So it was also a thing that after that training, I didn't want to go out to drink or anything because I was exhausted.
Yeah, well, I mean, think about it. Like, if you train on Friday, that you recover on like Saturday and Sunday, and then Monday is a training.
Yeah.
And there's nothing really outgoing happening from between Monday and Friday.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
it's actually
Yeah.
a nice little structure.
It is. And so, yeah, like, I was at the gym for like 1 year, and then this I started in autumn, and in the spring, my coach told me, hey, if you want to take this serious, come and work with us in the summer. Like, in the summer, It wasn't so much boxing. It was more like being an athlete, you know,
Yeah.
running, lifting weights, stuff like that. So I did that summer training. I really went in.
You fell
I
in love
really,
with it?
yeah. And then I had my first fight, and I think after that first fight, that was it.
You got hooked.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
got
I know,
hooked,
I
yeah.
know, bro. Like it took me a while to get into the scene, but I will never forget. Even though it wasn't my most favorite performance,
Mm.
because of the nervousness that I had and
Yeah.
the self doubts and stuff like that. But like all I remember is when I got home 2 hours later, I was like, during the when I was going home, I was like, man, is this for me? Should I really do this? I was a bit of like I embarrassed myself by losing in that way.
Yeah.
But when I got home, I was like, man, I cannot wait to get back in there, bro. Like it was, like, it's just an addiction.
I
It's
know.
a good addiction, though. Of course.
It is, and like the highs and lows, you know, like the when you win a really tight fight, you
Mm.
know, you know you're with the judge, and it's the judge is holding
Yeah.
both of your hands, and you really don't know, and they say it's a split decision, and you're like, fuck,
Yeah.
and then they raise your hand, bro.
Yeah.
It's like people use drugs and do all kinds of crazy shit to get those kind of highs,
Yeah,
but you know,
yeah.
but at the same time, the low points are also very low. Just
Absolutely,
say it's
absolutely.
not all highs. Also, you know, when you lose and you like you said, when if you underperform, and like the most, I think I had a similar thing. Like even though my coach was satisfied, if I knew that I underperformed, I
Mm.
just beat myself. You know, I beat myself up like, man, you're shit, man, and
Yeah,
you know, and many times we are our worst enemy.
I know what you mean.
But how now you've been kickboxing was your. I remember you said kickboxing was
Yeah.
your number one thing.
Yeah. Right now, practically, I realized like, because in the beginning I started with jujitsu.
Yeah.
And then I was like, hey, why not? Like, I'll get into MMA as well, because you start one thing and then your interest also vies. Because combat sports, they always have this. The community is quite niche and it's tight knit. So you know, like people call you in. So, but then I realized, okay, when I started dealing with some like really kind of messed up injuries due to MMA, I was like, okay, I think I'm gonna quit this because I had a really bad injury.
It
like
was
a back
from
injury.
locks or something like that.
Yeah, it was in a scramble situation where I messed up my back and I had to get surgery and stuff like that.
Oh, really? I didn't
Yeah,
know.
it was that bad. It was
Damn.
a couple of years ago, and then I was like, okay. I mean, the doctors told me like, oh, like don't. We recommend that you don't you don't go back to training. This might like happen again. Then I was like, oh man, okay, fine. I took a time recovery time off, but then I was like, man, like I cannot just give up fighting, bro. Like one way or another, I have to go back in there. So I said, okay, you know what can I do in the meantime in order to like get back in there? Number one thing, recover, strengthen the body, like do some core work, you know, posterior chain, all of that. But then what can I do for fighting? So I figured, okay, why not? I'll just start boxing and kickboxing. So primarily I'm chasing kickboxing and Muay Thai, but boxing is just it's a suave art, you know.
It is,
and
it doesn't hurt you. It doesn't hurt you to have really good hands in kickboxing, and they cross paths. Like actually today when it was the boxing, the finals, the nationals, there was two kickboxers who won.
Let me guess. Okay. No, actually, he didn't win, but yeah, go on. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they were both from Järvenpää Kehäkarhu gym. The one was in 92 kilo. He actually won a guy who I coach. I don't remember his name. And the second one was also.
Who do you coach?
I coach at Helsinki Tarmo. So it's this.
Who's the guy who you coached?
His name is Hadi Taslim. He's a young guy. He's 18, I think, 18 or 19. He moved from Tampere to Helsinki, and he came in our gym. So it wasn't like we built him, but he's working with us. He's been working with us for 8 months or something, and he's a really talented guy. But today these guys from Järvenpää, they're like stamina is crazy. Like they're pushers. They had 3 fighters, and all of them looked really good. 2 of them won.
Yeah.
And all of them are kickboxing world champions.
Yeah.
This guy, Akseli Saurama, who won in 75, he also won a guy from our gym, Benjamin. He just won 1 week ago or 2 weeks ago. He won the world champion in
kickboxing, right?
In kickboxing. And
was it in Portugal or something?
Yeah, exactly. And but one thing about kickboxing is, I think, because there's not so much people in it, so it's easier to get like big titles. Because in boxing, to get a world champion,
Tank, bro.
you
Shark
gotta be.
Tank.
It's Shark Tank,
Yeah.
exactly. And these countries, like all these ex-Soviet countries,
Yeah.
Cuba, England, they have huge programs running around it. Like when I was in my height, in the amateur height, I think I told you I went to Cuba for a training camp.
Yeah,
for a couple
I
of
remember.
months.
Yeah, I saw the pictures. I remember when I was in the
Yeah,
States
so
as well.
when I was there, I really understood what it takes to be on the top. Like those guys
How
there.
long were you there for? 3 months?
Oh, 2 months, yeah. 8 weeks, yeah.
Like you found a program that hosted you, or how did it work?
Actually, there was this one professional boxer called Daron Lester. He still lives in Finland, but he had just moved to Finland. I think he met his wife in Cuba, and then
Yeah.
they moved to Finland. And I was as his sparring partner in Åland, Marinhamina.
Yeah.
It was Robert Telenis's training camp. So it was actually the first time I got paid of boxing. I was there for 1 week. His sparring partner.
When was this?
This was in 2015
Yeah.
fall. Yeah. So yeah. After that, I always had that feeling because I really loved Cuban boxing. Like what I've been, checking on YouTube. So I had this feeling for a
Guillermo
long
Rigon
time.
doing dumb boys.
Yeah, you know what it is, and all the old school guys also. But yeah, it went well the weekend. And even Dairon's his boxing, I really liked it. Like he had 2 modes. He had the offensive mode, where we had to be really sharp, and then he had the defensive mode. And when he went to that defensive mode, it was like you're trying to grab a bar of soap in the shower. It was like slippery, slippery as fuck.
I like the analogy. I like the analogy.
Yeah. So like I think like 1 year after that, 2016 fall, I started thinking, okay, next winter I'm gonna go to Cuba. But then I had an injury. I ruptured my eardrum, and also
From boxing?
yeah. Like I don't know, is eardrum in English, but
yeah.
it's this thing that if somebody hits you there, it might pop, and then you can't do
You got
spar.
tinnitus?
Yeah. No, but it fucks up with your
balance,
balance,
right?
Yeah,
Yeah,
your balance.
true.
You
Yeah,
really
that is
can't.
eardrum.
Yeah. So yeah, and I had some personal struggles. I was homeless and shit. But then I was really also, I felt like the pressure of boxing. I was like, whoa, is this my thing really? Because I had been through some tough training camps, tough fights, and it took some couple of L's, and I thought to myself, like, I'm gonna check this Cuba card, and then I'm gonna let's check if I still want to continue. And at that point, I had like 2 bronze medals from the nationals. I'd been as a reserve guy in the national team, had a couple of like national team fights being out of the country, but still like nothing big hadn't popped up yet. So in January 2017, I just called Dairon. I said, yo, what's your coach's name? I'm going to Havana. He gave me his name, his number, and
you just bought a ticket and that's it.
I bought a ticket, one-way ticket actually. I went there, I landed in Havana, took the cab straight to the gym, all my luggage, pull up.
Yeah.
Asked I did Duolingo. I speak hablo un poquito español, but muy poquito, So
they probably thought you were local as well, right?
Hell yeah.
Of course.
That was actually one of the nicest things in Cuba, that I looked local.
Yeah, you look that local, bro.
Yeah, and that's something new for me because in Finland I don't look local. In Ethiopia I don't look local. It's always been.
You look like you look local. I would say, like,
in Ethiopia,
yeah. Like, don't
go and tell them kids who yell Ferengi to me.
Been there, bro. Been there. They
But
jealous, bro.
Yeah, they hate it. But anyhow, yeah, I pulled up there, asked where's Alberto.
Yeah.
Alberto is his coach name. Then the coach say, okay, here they found me in Cuba. They have these casa particulares. It's like a hostel run in somebody's home. Like you can rent a room and use it as breakfast. So I got a room right next to the gym, and then we just started working.
Was it in winter, spring, because like
January?
January.
January.
Because I live in the Caribbean, so it's a nice time.
It was nice.
Yeah.
Like the first 4 weeks I was in Havana. Then actually my aunt, she had been working with the university in some Latin American projects. So she linked me out like that. She has some really good colleague living in Santiago de Cuba, which is another city. So I went there, and with weirdest of luck, I found like the best gym there. Like I was just walking the street,
serious,
and I saw this guy with this hat that had a logo of this one youth world championship they used to have in St. Petersburg,
Yeah.
and that had a logo of some tiger boxing or something. And I saw this guy say, "Hey, you're a boxer." I said, "Yeah,
Yeah.
man, I'm looking for a gym." And he took me to this academy of Santiago de Cuba. So the academy is
At
like,
that moment, like right then and there.
yeah. We went
My
right
guy,
there.
bro.
Yeah. And after, and
love
actually,
the
the Santiago de Cuba, that's where that was where I found the heaviest training, because there, like, the academy is like a concept, like all of the different gyms in Santiago de Cuba, they send the
their
best
best.
one. No, they don't send. They get picked out. So if you're really good, you get picked out, and then you train. And these guys, they slept like in a military barrack, in
Right.
like bunk beds, and they just worked hard. Like in the morning, I remember the training was like, first you run 5 miles, 5 kilometers, and not jog. Like it was like
Sprint,
it was like a competition, and it was
Okay,
up a
okay.
hill and
Yeah.
downhill. Okay, and then I thought, oh, okay, this is cool. Okay, so I'm ready to go home. Nah,
Mhm.
this is when we put the boxing gloves
Are
on,
you
and we went like
serious?
a 1.5 hour more, like heavy bag, then sparring, and I was but truth being told, after I came from, because I sparred with some bad guys there, I got my ass whooped there, like all over Cuba. But after I came back from there, I was like, bro, can nobody touch me in
Yeah,
Finland?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
nobody, none of these guys have anything that I can be like a little bit of afraid of, or something like that. So, but after that, one thing I also I realized in Cuba, because many of those guys, I got a couple of good friends there. Like one guy, his name is Chicho. He was number one in Cuba in the juniors as a youth. But in the he turned like 8. He was like 19 at the time, and at that time he wasn't number one anymore. He was like 5 or something.
Mhm.
So when you're number one in Cuba, the government pays you. They pay you to train,
Oh.
and they pay for your expenses and stuff. But if you're number 5, nobody gives a shit about you,
Yeah.
even though you're world class. So
Mhm.
this guy was like, he told me, like, if I had anything else I could do, I would do it. But boxing is the only thing I have. And I realized at that point, like, how blessed I am to be in Finland, because I can just fuck off and go to university and they pay me,
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts. No, facts.
So actually, from Cuba, I got this mad self self consistency. Like I started believing in myself in a different level. Like I thought, like, nobody in this area, Nordics, can touch me. But at the same time, I understood that I have to have a B plan. Yeah, but I'm still on that B plan.
No, like, because one thing I've also realized is a lot of people don't realize the value of having this so-called B plan, because like sometimes things might just not be in your favor. Anything can happen
Exactly.
out there, bro.
And when you're an athlete, your body is your work.
It's your canvas. It's like a
Yeah,
painter's canvas, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
If you break your hand, that's it. And I had like hand injuries. Even the national championships I won in 2017, I fought the final with left hand only. My right hand had been injured in
a previous fight, or
in a tournament, GB tournament, like a 1 month before. I fought first. I fought the Swedish champion. I won him. Then I fought a Russian guy. He was the champion of St. Petersburg. He was like bronze medalist in Russia.
like
It was
very,
good,
very Soviet
really
style,
good.
long range,
really long southpaw, really bouncy, man. It
Okay.
was like
in
slippery
out,
as
in out,
fuck.
right?
Yeah. But I broke my hand against him, and then I just in the semifinals, in the nationals, I was fighting this one guy that I beat like 5 times before, and I thought, like, okay,
He's Finnish.
He's Finnish guy
Yeah.
from up north, Lapland. So I thought, like, okay, this is gonna be easy. But this guy, he'd been
catching up. Right?
yeah, he'd been, and I think like I was like villain in his life. 'Cause I
Okay.
fucked with, like, I beat him in Rovaniemi, in his own town. The house was it was like a
It was hometown,
it was
right?
like
Yeah,
his
for him.
whole time. It was full of his people, Everybody was like, kill him.
Yeah.
Oh, I whipped his ass,
Yeah.
It was quiet as fuck.
Oof, that must have been satisfying.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah, especially in those out of town countries, where people give you a little bit long looks and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I haven't experienced that in that pedigree, but I can imagine it. Like, but it takes a lot of mental fortitude to have that, like, to mute the booze and just stay in the zone and go for the kill. I don't know how you do it.
I think it's easier with the booze than if you're in your own city and it's all your friends.
Under pressure, right?
And the pressure, like,
Yeah,
I think
true.
that pressure is worse than haters. Bro, I lived as a black kid in the 90s in Finland, bro. I've been hated my whole life, bro.
Yeah.
Hate is nothing new for me. But yeah, man.
Bro, I forgot, like, you
Are
as
we
a
live,
kid,
by
you were
the way?
already...
Okay.
Of course, of course.
No, but are we live? Like people are listening to it right now?
Yeah.
Okay,
Don't worry.
okay.
But I'll show you how the later when the show ends. I'm gonna show you the politics of the show.
All right,
So
cool,
we'll,
cool.
we go live and then we also broadcast the podcast.
Oh, that's cool. That's
Yeah,
cool.
yeah. But like one thing I want to know is how do you because I've noticed the culture is quite small in Finland. What does it take for it to get bigger? Because I've noticed like you need to have friends who have similar interest in order for them to familiarize with the sport, and you can engage on the subject and whatnot. Compared to, for example, when you flew out to Cuba, I mean, it's practically a national sport there, right?
Yeah.
After
That's
baseball or
it. That's
something.
it. Like after baseball, I think boxing is, and in Cuba, they have that Soviet sport exchange.
Like a
Like
program,
when they
right?
were
Yeah.
because Cuba is still communist, and that was something that actually blew my mind. I
Mhm.
didn't realize it because they're kind of 50-50. But like one good example is you don't see ads anywhere, like outdoor ads. It's only propaganda. It's like fatherland or death. Stuff like that.
Here we have corporate propaganda. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Like,
It's the
so,
same. Yeah.
yeah.
But
But
yeah,
but like actually, just to digress a little bit into
Yeah.
Cuba, what man, I'm not gonna lie, I never had the opportunity to go to Cuba. I lived in Haiti, in right next door.
yeah.
Beautiful country, beautiful people, but I've always like my heart has always gravitated towards Cuba. Like just I've always wanted to visit, just couldn't for one reason or another. What is that like, man? Like just life outside of boxing.
Man, the best thing for me in Cuba was that I was hanging with these local boxers, so I really got a glimpse. And the way I look, when
Yeah,
when I was there with my shorts and t-shirt, nobody
Yeah.
guessed. It was only after this once I got into like 5 phrases until they realized I'm like
Okay.
Cuban,
Yeah.
But I had this game with me,
Yeah.
I even started mimicking because they don't speak Spanish like Duolingo speaks Spanish. They
true.
had this Cuban style of speaking Spanish, and it's very different. Like many people in other Latin American countries, they might even have problems of in understanding Cubans because they have a really
They
distinctive
have
way of
yeah,
speaking.
true.
But that was the best thing, that I was hanging with those local guys, and I really saw a glimpse in their life. And I think like the problem is for Cuba is Miami is 100 kilometers away,
True.
and it's full of Cubans.
Mm.
So many of them could be happy with their life, but when that you could have something more, because the regime there it's really making people suffer in a way. In a way also, people, they don't have homeless people, they have
Mm.
free healthcare. If you go to
Free
America,
education.
you go to Los Angeles, you see miles of homeless people. So it's kind of like
The irony, the great
yeah,
irony, right? Yeah.
it's but I think like in this day of time, especially because there's not many communist countries left, I think they really have to open it up, but in some way, not they don't have to open them fully, because I think that's the reason why Cuba went communist, because back before the communists, it was like a fun house for USA. They went there, they had chicks and stuff, and it's very corrupted and stuff.
You took a bus from Havana to Santiago, or
I did.
you
I
take
did.
a cab?
No, I took a bus. It was an 18-hour bus ride, and I met these two.
It's southeast, right?
Yeah. It's on the. It was really cool. Actually, I love taking bus rides, especially in
Must have been
third
scenic, bro.
world countries, because and bus rides are, for me, long bus rides are kind of a meditation, because like I have 2 very distinctive memories of that I had like an epiphany about my own life, like really understanding something deeply. One was when I went from Addis Ababa to Mekelle, Tigray, and that's like a bus ride that it's like 600 kilometers, but it takes like like a day, because it's all the mountains. When you have to go up a mountain, then you go down a mountain.
Those like just those curved angles,
Yeah,
those sharp turns.
bro,
Your
I was
fingers
sure I'm
crossed, you
gonna
pray to
die.
whatever,
Yeah, like,
Right, yeah.
please. But yeah, that, and also on that. But it was funny that Santiago bus ride, I was hanging with 2 Japanese chicks in the back seat, and both of them,
Backpackers or something,
yeah, they were backpackers, and they didn't speak a lot of English,
and no
not,
Spanish.
and other one of them spoke Spanish, but my Spanish wasn't so good.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was fun. I really talked to them for like 14 hours and just
It's
yeah, they were
crazy.
really cool chicks. And but yeah, I remember in that bus ride, the thing I really realized really deeply was that I'd been stupid previously, that I had been partying and stuff like that when I was still on my in
You were
my
being young,
yeah, but in a
young and
way
foolish.
yeah, but like I want to tell this to all those young athletes who are out there who feel like they're missing out on stuff, is that the time that you do sports, the time you compete, it's a very small time in your
Yeah,
life. You're not
prime.
going to be
Yeah.
doing it for a very long time. At some point you're going to stop, your body's going to stop working the way, you're going to get injuries, and that's the time when you can go to all the clubs you want. But especially if you're in combat sports, you can't do that.
Mm.
You have to be and if you want to be serious, if you want to be a champion, you have to be an athlete 365 days a year. So you can't be going out club shaking your ass with girls and drinking and stuff. Even though if you tell me
Yeah.
you're not drinking, I don't give a fuck. If you're still staying up until 4 a.m., you're killing your recovery. And that was also one thing, that because I used to work nightclub security.
Yeah.
And now that I'm a coach, I understand better. Like you can't, because I work like train twice a day from Monday to Friday, and then Friday and Saturday night
It
I
wrecks up
work.
your sleep
Yeah,
rhythm,
yeah,
actually.
yeah, and it kills your recovery, because and all your hormonal system,
Absolutely.
everything, because fuck. And then Sunday I used to take a small jog or something, and then Monday back to work. From
Tired.
yeah, Monday, and you feel like, I remember like Wednesday was the first training. Like Monday and Tuesday, we had Tuesday sparring. Always used to go like shit because
Mm.
I wasn't
'Cause of
there.
your
Yeah,
work.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't sleep so well. But also, it's a choice. If I would have worked a normal day job, then I couldn't have trained twice a
Twice a
day.
day. Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
I could have, but it would have been a lot
But the
harder.
trade-off is probably better, no? Because at least you're putting in, if you're recovering well and you're putting in one solid workout per day,
It's enough.
I think it's enough.
It's enough,
compared to
definitely.
2 workouts a day but not recovering.
It's enough. I think so. And especially, like recovery is everything. It's not all about your muscles. It's about your mind too. And
But I mean, we're getting hit in the head, so brain cells also need to recover,
definitely.
even though they recover at a slower rate to
Yeah.
other cells in the body. But like, also one thing, like I want people to know about is your background. You're from Tigray, right?
Yeah, my dad is Ethiopian, and my grandmother is from Tigray, and my grandfather is from Wallo Amhara. So I'm mixed in that way
Ah, that's
also.
beautiful, bro.
And I think like before this war, there was a civil war in Ethiopia. I consider myself Ethiopian,
Mm.
and but I always liked Tigray. I loved it. Like I'm not a big Addis boy. I don't really like the big cities that much. I like the peaceful countryside more. The people are very different, and especially Tigray. I always had
Very
a very
rustic and
yeah,
just like very homely, right?
yeah, and
Yeah.
people also are very, they're like more honest, because like the way I look, people in those big cities, they always try to hustle you or something. But like I felt like in those smaller places, you can really just have genuine, human interaction without somebody trying to get in your pocket or something like that.
Well, one thing people need to know is people can have their own opinions when it comes to the regional politics or whatever, but like the history of that region is so rich, bro.
It
It
is.
is so rich. When you mentioned that you're from Mekelle, I think Mekelle is probably at least Helsinki is 500 years old. Mekelle is probably 3 times that, if not twice, bro.
Yeah. It's crazy.
know?
And the places around that, Aksum, Adwa, all that. That's the cradle of civilization in a way.
Like insane.
Yeah, and right
insane.
next to where's the state of Afar. That's where they found the first Homo sapiens, Lucy. So that's the cradle of mankind in a way. And
I didn't even know it was in the Afar region.
Yeah,
I
it
thought
was in the
actually
Afar.
somewhere down south, maybe in the Oromia.
It was in the Afar region.
It was in a drier region.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
I
yeah.
didn't
Afar
know.
is, but back in those days, Afar wasn't dry back in those days. It used to be like a paradise.
True, actually,
yeah.
true. Like now that you mentioned, desertification is a recent, I think, trend.
Yeah.
But like, how often do you visit home?
I was there like 2 months ago. So
Serious?
yeah. I hadn't gone like I was in 2020 last time.
That's actually really recent as well.
Yeah 2020. I like to go a lot, you know, and like now when I went, I was struggling in life, and not
Mm.
struggling that much, but I was just struggling with the reason to do, because I'm doing a lot of stuff, you know. I got 2 kids,
Mm.
third on the way, you know, doing stuff, and I just felt like,
Congrats.
thank you, brother. So when I go there, you know, I always, when I come back, I always come like leveled up, you know.
Yeah.
I'm ready. It's game time. 'Cause I always, when I go there, I always remember my blessings, you know. And I, you know,
Quit bitching, basically.
yeah, definitely. And this time was very special because there was just this very horrific war, and there was a lot of people suffered a lot, you know. And a good close cousin of mine, like my number one cousin there, he was in the war. He was in the Tigray Defense Force fighting, and you know, he got injured, and a lot of people were very the people suffered, like almost 1 million people died, and crazy stuff. And you know, you don't even read about this stuff, you know, because no, people don't care when like the global world, they don't care that much when African people suffers. But my point was,
To a certain
after I
extent, I
saw,
do agree, because like you don't see the media, you know, picking up these stories too often
nah,
compared to again, you know, I think all tragedies around the world must be put to the forefront and attention, and just like basically people ought to take note of what's going on, you know, and not cherry pick certain
That's
things
true.
that happen in certain regions, because it's closer to home, as they say, because you know it's happening right around Europe, or because these people are much more culturally similar to us. Yeah, so I do agree.
yeah. But yeah, after I spent time with my cousin, you know, I talked with him everything about the war. You know, he had a really tough. You know, we were very lucky that he came out alive, and but I just realized how much I have, you know. And because now, you know, if you walk in Mekele, you know, you see a lot of young guys there in wheelchairs. They don't have legs. They don't have, and they're young guys, you know. They're, some of them are 18, 19-year olds. You know, the last week I was there in Tigray, yeah, the government had just released all of the deaths. So they sent all of the families uh, like a note or something that your son has fallen. He's now
the regional government of
yes, the
Tigray,
regional
right?
government.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they had
yeah.
been postponing it to make it after the harvest. So the last week I was in like 12 different funerals, because you know, we have back home, we have this kind of a way that a lot of people come to your
Yeah, of
house, and
course.
they're
Yeah.
there for a while with the mourning with the family. So
Mhm.
all of that, I took it, you know, and it was kind of a hard, you know, I cried a lot in that trip, because also I went because my grandfather died during the war.
Oh,
He was
serious.
he was very old. He was almost 100 years old, maybe 100. When
I
I
remember pictures of him that you and your brother used to post back in the day. He had that glorious beard, right?
he
Yeah,
glorious, like gray beard.
yeah.
And he
And
was
he had that
awesome.
traditional cap that he'd wear,
Definitely,
and
man.
that staff.
Yeah.
Man, that was royalty look
Yeah, man,
right
he's
there,
an
bro.
OG, man. Rest in peace. But he was very old, and he could have lived a couple of more years if the war wasn't there, because of the war there was a siege around Tigray, and no medicine could get, so he didn't get the medicine and stuff. But also that was like, I went there to kind of like mentally uh bury him, like, even though they had the funeral and
Find
everything.
closure.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly,
Yeah.
closure.
Yeah.
But after I
I
came
respect
back,
that. If you're willing to make that amount of sacrifice in terms of time to travel all the way there, it's not an easy place to get to.
no,
I mean, besides going from here, you probably flew through Istanbul, or
yeah.
and then Addis, and then from there
Yeah.
take one of the taxi buses, right?
No, you couldn't take it. I had to fly, because
Oh.
now there's a war in Amhara state.
Wait. So you didn't fly to Addis?
I flew to Addis, but I flew from Addis to Mekele. I couldn't take the
Okay.
bus.
Oh
and
yeah,
everything,
because
yeah.
the roads, right?
Yeah, you can't go there. You know,
Damn.
it's very sad, but our country is in a very bad state. Even, you know, like the inflation and everything in Ethiopia, you know, it's crazy. Like last time I was there, €1 was like 35 birs,
Yeah.
which is the local currency, and in the black market you get like 50 birs. Now it's double. Now it's like in the black market for €1, I got like 110 birs. So when I changed my euro, I took all my money in euro,
Yeah.
When I changed it, and I was stacked. But I feel
Yeah.
sorry for the locals because things are getting more expensive for them, and we know how inflation goes in the end. You got to stack up. Bring your
Yeah.
fucking suitcase full of money just to buy a beer or something.
How long do you usually spend time there when you go?
This time I was for 4 weeks. I
4
would
weeks.
want to be longer, but I had family here, so I can.
Yeah.
But I think I'm gonna go at some point. I want my kids to also go for a long time, but at that
Have
point,
they been there yet?
yes, Emmanuel, my firstborn, has been there in 2020. I
That
took
is
him with
cool,
me.
man.
Yeah, but my
How did
second
he? How
one,
did he? How did he? What was his reaction?
he was still quite young. He was like 2 years old at
Okay.
that
Yeah.
time.
Of course.
Two, no, actually, yeah, 1.5. So it was quite small, but he has a very he talks about Africa and Ethiopia because I've shown he can't remember it, but I've shown him so much pictures and
Yeah.
videos and when we were there. So I think
Their brains are very malleable at that time. That's the period to expose them.
exactly, and I think through that journey, I think, and now that he's like 5 years old, I think he really he sees himself also as an African. Like when we see black people in the metro, he's like, "Hey, is this guy Ethiopian?" I'm like, "Hey, might be. You want to ask him?" And it's like, "Nah, but I think he is too." And I think
How old is he?
he's 5 now. Yeah.
Man, you're having these kind of conversations with your 5-year. That's beautiful, man. Seriously,
Man,
the curiosity in these little
these
ones is
kids, when
something
it's great, you teach them as much as they teach you, in life.
serious.
Yeah. And I think like being a father has really elevated my game to another level mentally. Like, just
You're 30, right?
I'm 30. Yeah.
Yeah, like, man. The sheer responsibility must. Like, what was that like? The first experience. I mean, not just knowing you're gonna have a child, but like when you held your child in your arms.
Man, it's crazy, man. When
Was
you
it
hear
transcendental? Was it transformative? Like
it was very transformative, definitely. And uh, my relationship with my dad hasn't been the best one in my life. Nowadays, we're good, but it wasn't always like that. So I had to face a lot of stuff that I had buried deep inside, and it all came out because now I had to really think about what kind of father do I want to be. Then I thought about my father figures. I think like, okay, maybe not that, maybe not that, and
Yeah.
that was a point that I really liked. The first year of my kid's first year, I went through a lot of stuff, but now I have like a core. I know what kind of, and these kids, they give you so much. They give you unconditional love. you know uh, and that's something very rare for us, for everyone. I don't think like unconditional love. Your girl doesn't love you unconditionally. Yeah, maybe your mama loves you, maybe unconditional, but other than that, getting that unconditional love, it really heals all the wounds and makes you want to be a better person.
I mean, the attachment between father and son, knowing that also the codependability, because like this little one depends on you for sustenance, for protection, and you depend on it for meaning.
Yeah, definitely.
It must be something else. Like, man, I have to mentally prepare myself. Like, I'm not sure if it's ever gonna happen, but if it does, man, like I think the path I've chosen when it comes to combat sports, it's particularly one of the reasons because I want to be able to protect my nearest ones.
Definitely,
if
yeah.
push comes to shove, it's
Yeah.
not just as a sport that we do. It's also we're dabbling in the art of death in a way.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. But it's funny that when I started doing boxing, like before I boxed, I used to get into a lot of street fights and stuff like that. But after I started boxing, like seriously
It keeps
boxing,
you
like,
away, actually,
it
from it,
keeps
right?
you away.
Yeah.
And also, I think because I was working in nightclub security, and I know a lot of guys, especially in Finland, who work in nightclub security. They're like assholes. They're sadistic. They're just waiting for a reason.
someone to do
Yeah,
something,
yeah.
right?
They
Yeah.
just every day they just wish you would.
Mm.
So they can kick your ass. But like me, if I had to do something physical, I felt like I'd lost already at that point, because like for me, I didn't want to do all that. I did my violence in the gym. But a lot of people, they want to be violent with a badge in those
They have a
jobs.
sense of bravado that they want to.
Yeah, but
prove,
the
right?
most deep thing is that they're insecure. So when somebody's testing them, like I remember forever, this one guy told me, I was working in a bar called Lamas. It's
Yeah, back
it's
in the
still
day, yeah.
it's still there
Still
in
open, right?
Roba. Yeah.
Yeah.
one guy, I didn't let him in, and he looked at me in my eyes, and he said, "You want me to kick your ass?"
Yeah.
And I just started laughing, like honest laugh, and I just started laughing, like, and I said, "Okay,
Yeah.
kick my ass."
Yeah.
And he just went like baffled. He
of
couldn't
course,
say
of
anything. He
course.
just fucked off, and
Maybe
I
it was
really,
that Dutch courage, right? The
yeah,
booze.
yeah, yeah. It was like, because when you have, yeah, this was my point is when you do this combat sports and you know that you can defend yourself, that also you push that kind of aura out, so people can sense that even though you don't
I
have
didn't
to
even
be,
think about that.
people
actually,
can sense, like, if somebody tries to challenge you and they're like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm ready, we can go right now,
Mm.
and then they're like, oh, that wasn't the reaction they wanted, because
So
like,
they want that timidity. They
they
want you
want
to sort of take a step
exactly,
back.
but
Okay,
when
yeah.
you're ready, then they're like, whoa, 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 whoa,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah,
just
yeah.
kidding,
Yeah.
because most of these people who challenge people in the streets want to fight you, they're cowards also. No, if you're a real combat sports, you know how to fight. You don't challenge people to
Take
to
it
a
to the
fight.
ring, right?
Yeah, let's take
Yeah.
it to the ring,
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you also get that violence because let's be honest, some people, most of people have violent tendencies,
Absolutely.
just I think, like, in our society nowadays, we used to need violent motherfuckers in our village.
Yeah.
You used to have in your village these crazy guys. When the war comes and the push comes to shove, you used to send these guys.
True, true.
But now in
And
our,
it's like it's a bit repressed,
it
and
is,
people are not sort of channeling it through proper means.
yeah.
So I think in that sense, it's good that a person learns a form of combat sports, but also understands the responsibilities that
Mm,
this person has when it comes to their just skill wise. You you can practically take someone's life.
very easily.
So you have to be careful
Very easily.
when you use it and how and for what means. Of course.
Exactly. That's a very good point. Like, after you learn how to punch or throw kicks or something, you really can't fuck around. And also, if you're a boxer and you hit somebody in the street with your fist, you're gonna break your hand.
Yeah,
That's like
yeah,
very
there's
sure,
that, there's that.
And also, like, it's usually not the punch that kills, but when they fall and they hit their head,
Like, it's actually something I always like. If there's a situation escalating, I always have a way to pinch myself. Whenever if I'm in public and I see two guys quarreling, or maybe I've been in a situation where I've been in an elevator and people like two guys high as kites,
yeah.
Start like doing something like, please get me out of here because I do not want to be embroiled in a scuffle here, So you need to condition yourself to step away also from situations that might take, like, escalate.
Yeah,
To
yeah, and do a
to a
real quick
different level.
risk evaluation. Like, is it worth it?
And most of the time, it's not really.
It's not, and especially here in Finland, I know in other countries. But if you have experience in combat sports, especially if you have like championships and stuff, if you hit somebody, it's
considered.
It's like same if somebody stabs somebody, your hands are
Weapons?
considered as weapons. Like,
That's
literally.
an interesting take by the law, to be honest.
Yeah,
actually.
yeah.
In a sense, I can see some reasoning to that.
Yeah, in a way, I think
it's in a sense, but at the same time, like, maybe that other guy is actually a piece of rubbish, like
That's true.
And maybe he actually did have an intention to hurt you or another person.
Yeah.
So I hope that's taken into consideration.
Yeah, I think like in self-defense, it's different. But if you're the one, but I've heard also that if there was a fight and the other one was a boxer,
that's what I've heard too.
You might get into some if you win, if you get your ass kicked, no problem. But if you knock the guy out or something and you break his chin, then you're gonna be you might be in real big trouble.
Speaking of chins, so when is your comeback? Have you projected time frame?
No. I'm just getting in shape. Now I'm enjoying that. I'm enjoying that.
What are you talking about, man? Like, what out of shape? Like,
no.
I know. Robust as heck.
Yeah. But bust is not my luck. Out of shape means performance wise.
Okay.
I want to be in shape that wise. Like I told you earlier. I'm not all about the aesthetics.
Yeah, I get you.
I want to look good, obviously, but that's not why I train. I train to be fast, strong, explosive.
But man, like, and muscle memory is always going to be there.
Skill
wise, you've been downloading over the years, obviously.
And these
coaching.
Yeah, these coaching years actually have been good because I haven't been out of the gym. I've been actually
spending more time there, right?
I've been thinking about boxing more deeply than ever.
Yeah.
When I was competing, I didn't think this. I didn't have to think about the stuff so much. My coach told me what to do, and I did it. But now I'm really like when I'm making these plans, what we're gonna practice. I'm really thinking, well, why are we doing this? Why are you doing that? Why are we doing this way and not that way? So I think like my boxing IQ has increased from that time. But also in a way, I'm not as worryless as before. Like especially with the head trauma that happens in boxing. Like when I was younger, if I took a hard sparring, I didn't care so much. But now, if I don't want to take shots,
What's your relationship with sparring?
I like sparring, but like I think like there's a place for hard sparring and there's a
Exactly.
place for because I think like you have to do hard sparring if you want
To
to do
prepare for competition, right?
if
Yeah.
and I think like for hard sparring it should always be known to both of the fighters that today we're gonna go hard.
Yeah.
So it's not like you're going chill and the other one is going hard.
Yeah.
But I think like most of the sparring doesn't have to be hard sparring. It's more about
Flow sparring.
flow, getting the coordination right, getting the
Rhythm.
the rhythm, the reflex, that's more important. Then of course
That's a realization I've had recently as well, because like when like the gym wars were sort of like taking its toll, like I was like, man, this does not feel good. I should not come out of training feeling sluggish and like just not liking it.
Yeah.
I should crave for it more. So then I reflected on it and I realized, okay, man, I'm having endless unnecessary and way too regular hard spars. So now, like as you said, competition wise, when you're in camp in that war path, I think maybe at least 3 to 2 weeks out, you need a couple of those feeling out processes.
Yeah, definitely. For your body and your lungs also, it's different. If you never gone 100%, then you go to a official fight, and you start going 100%, you might gas out because you've never been there.
You
So
haven't taxed your muscles.
Yeah, you haven't
taxed your
really.
heart,
And your heart and your lungs.
Also, just that mental encroachment, because only in hard spars will you feel pressure. Like if it's just a playful one, like he's gonna go easy, but unless a guy is actually like unloading combinations on you, like with intent,
with bad intentions,
then at least your guard will be higher, or maybe you'll be much more defense primed.
Yeah, definitely, and I think like those hard sparring sessions, there should always be like somebody, a coach or somebody, looking after you and give you,
give an assessment.
Give an assessment, and also like so after that you can really like get the most out of it.
I see basically hard spars as training camp is like regular homework, and hard spars like an exam. Before you go into the competition.
Yeah, definitely. One thing actually I did with our guys now, I gave them some homework to read what do the referees, what do they like count in the boxing fights, because when I started boxing they still had this machine. So in this machine they had a red dot and a blue dot, and when they saw there was 5 judges, judges, not referees, so what the judge will judge. So back in the days, if like 3 of the 5 push the button at the same time, then you get a point. But nowadays those judges, they have different criteria on what they judge you on.
What they consider to be a clean strike,
and also like activity, who's holding the middle of the ring. There's many different parts, So
that's a positive reform, I suppose. Or
in a way, it made boxing a little bit more like amateur Olympic boxing. It made it a little bit more like viewer friendly, and also because it used to be like playing tag, like tag. Not all of them, but some of the matches. And back when I started, also men used to wear headgear. I think it's good that they lost that, because there's some negative sides, but I think
at least your vision is not there's no obstacle to your vision.
Yeah, that's true. But one thing that is negative is you get easier cuts, when the heads clash and stuff. But that head vision is positive, and also that your head is not such a big object, because sometimes somebody might just hit your helmet,
and then you still yank your head. And actually, that's one theory I've had about helmets is because I mean, at least without helmets, if a guy gets knocked down, and maybe if it's that serious, his coaches will throw the towel or whatever. But at least that's much safer than the guy getting back in there with a helmet and getting repetitive head trauma. Like compared, what's better, one knockdown or 20 clean blows to the head
Yeah,
with the helmet?
that's a good point. Yeah, well, I think they have the same argument about this bare knuckle fighting. I think it's now booming
Yeah,
because that, like, I saw an
it's a
interview.
monstrosity, by the way. Like, and I love it to a certain extent, but it's something else, bro.
It's something else. When you look at those fighters, they look fucking bruised.
yeah,
But I think, like, also in that, because when you're bare knuckle, you can't just throw big blows, like, or that you really have to pick your shots because you're gonna break your
straight
hands.
shots more.
Yeah, you can't go full power in every shot because
They
you're
work
gonna
the
break
body
your,
more. I've noticed. By the
yeah,
way.
because you're
The
gonna
softer
break your
tissue,
hand.
right?
You're
Yeah.
gonna break. You're gonna hit somebody in the skull. You're gonna break your hand.
Yeah.
And in a way, also, like, I saw some conversation about which one is worse, like MMA or boxing for head, and some researchers said that boxing is worse because you take so many more small hits to
Course,
the
yeah.
head. But then again, in MMA, you have this very brutal. You get knocked out, you're still out cold, and
Yeah,
you
then the guy
get
comes.
2 hammers in the head. That's for me personally. I love MMA, but when that happens, I look away because I think like that's where sport it's not sporty anymore. It's
Yeah.
kind of like it's fighting.
But the referee also needs to
Be
present,
away,
right? Yeah.
definitely. That's
You
the
saw
referee.
the recent UFC spectacle, right? Jalen Turner versus Bobby Green. Did you see the
I
fight?
didn't see that.
Watch it. But anyway, it's been very controversial because the coach, spoiler alert, sorry, not the coach, the referee. Some people think, and I actually agree that he should have stopped the fight earlier.
All right.
I think there was like 7, maybe 6 ground and pounds when the guy's out already.
Oh,
And like it was just tough to watch, and a couple to the back of the head as well.
oh, that's bad.
Yeah.
Back of the head is bad because that's where you can really get injured
Cerebellum
quick.
of the yeah. That's it's quite soft when you think about it.
It is.
And that's where the nerve cords go to the brain. So
yeah.
if that's out.
Yeah, you're dead.
By the way, recently, speaking of reffing, you were at the F2F event.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
You were reffing, right?
Yeah. I was the referee there. Yeah.
Listen, shout out to Arslan. He's doing something really unique. I've actually talked to him about this. I'm gonna have him on the show as well.
Oh, great.
I'm looking really forward to it. But like, I found that to be a very novel idea here, at least because I know like people are opening up their own promotions elsewhere, but what he's doing, again, shout out to him. What was that experience being part of it?
Well, it was great. Like, I know Arslan from back in the days. We used to be in the national team at the same time, and he just linked up to me like, "You want to come and reffing here?" And I didn't know that. I saw some videos in TikTok about the event. I was digging it for a while because I think, like, in Finland, these fight events, it's been boring as hell for a long time.
Yeah.
Like, it's been
There's no characters as well,
there's
right?
no characters, and I think it's a problem in Finnish boxing as a whole. Like, some of those big chair guys, they don't like character. They want everybody to fit in the same frame.
I know what you mean.
So
I know what you mean.
yeah,
Yeah.
they don't like extra people.
Yeah.
So I think it's very welcome to the sport. To have, and actually this event, it was very well managed. Like, I knew that was the first time Arslan did produced an event, and I've produced a lot of events, and it was very well
nice.
produced.
Let me know next time if you have something going on. Actually.
Yeah,
I'd
I
love
think
to come see
my event producing days are behind me, but maybe I'm gonna, if I get
the
a nice
future, bro.
idea. Yeah.
some Bob Arum looking mother.
Yeah. But it was really nice, even though actually before that I had done TikTok.
Yeah.
And but when I started my TikTok, I always thought, I had this idea, I'm not gonna do anything extra here because I don't want any 12-year-olds coming to call me a mofo or anything like that.
N-word.
Yeah, that's what's gonna happen. Definitely. Yeah. So I always kept my content in TikTok very plain and very all about boxing. So in this event, there was some good fighting pairs, but there was some a little bit unequal ones.
Yeah.
And none of the fights went to the cards. I stopped all of them. Some of them I didn't have to stop because the guy was done, but some of them I stopped because it was so none of the fights went to the end.
Okay.
And
okay,
after
okay.
that, man, those kids, they found me, man. I got some TikTok hate, man. It was funny as hell, man. I thought, man, what a time to be alive. I got 12 years old writing to my inbox like, you're the worst referee ever, man. You should kill yourself, man. I'm
Are
like,
you serious?
man, if I pull out my
Bruh.
inbox right now,
So
man,
toxic.
yeah, man,
So
it's
toxic.
I really feel sorry for the kids because it's a very toxic platform. I'm super happy that I had the chance to live my teen years without
Yeah.
a huge influence of social
Absolutely,
media.
bro.
We had a little Galerian,
Yeah,
little
yeah. I remember those
Messenger,
days.
that kind of stuff. But I was like,
Good old time.
yeah, I was like 17 or 18 when I got Facebook and it wasn't you took a photo with some digital camera, then you didn't upload pictures every day.
Yeah,
It was a very rare occasion, but I think-
Special moments, basically.
yeah,
right?
yeah,
I had a shower thought when it comes to this to these kind of events, because since also to the subject we discussed earlier, how in society they're like human beings on a natural evolutionary level, they do have violent inclinations.
Mm.
And what would be the best way to channel it? We came to I guess to a midpoint that they can go to a combat gym, right?
Yeah.
And maybe like do it in the ring. There is this trend in youth violence in our youth culture, if you're aware.
definitely.
I'm sure
I'm
you're
very
aware.
aware.
And I was thinking, could this be maybe a positive gateway for them to come and squash their beef? Because
Yeah,
there's a lot of things are escalating when it comes to knife crime and all this.
definitely. I think that's a very big a topic in Finland and also like a trend. Like I think
Especially in Western Europe, right?
yeah, I think it's Western
Yeah.
Europe as a whole, and I'm very aware of it, and I'm really worried about it because most of these things
I don't want my little cousin or your son to grow up in this.
yeah, definitely, and it affects
society.
mostly those kids in the poorer areas and stuff like that. And I think like I really went deep on this, and I really started thinking with a friend of mine who started thinking like, why is this happening? And I came to the conclusion that it's all because of social media. Like back in the days, when I was in junior high school, I had a fight in school, many fights in school. You had all the people making a circle,
In the football
and
field.
I got my ass kicked, and it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
After 1-2 days, people forgot about it,
And
and it
move
was
on.
then and moved on. But nowadays, if you get your ass kicked, somebody's gonna post it on TikTok, and the embarrassment is not gonna end. So I think
So the
this is just
cycle of abuse sort of just escalates.
yeah, and I think this
Yeah.
is my thoughts. I think like one thing why the knives are coming out more easily is the kids are too afraid to take a L because the embarrassment is not gonna end in
Ego.
that day.
Mm,
They're gonna be in somebody's TikTok, and it's gonna
that's pretty dark when you think about it. If someone is
is.
willing to go to the length of committing homicide.
Mhm.
Oh no, it's murder actually. If
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
planning to take a knife to a fight. So
yeah.
that's dark, bro. That's
Yeah,
dark.
it's dark, but I'm really, and that's why I'm working on this boxing gym. I'm really trying to help these kids to find, because I know, like, if you go to a boxing gym and you do boxing, you're not gonna fight with knives. I think the ones who carry the knives, they're the ones who are most afraid.
Mm.
They're the real cowards who have the knives.
I
Because
like that.
yeah.
I like that. That's poignant.
Mm.
Hey, listen, my guy. Where's your gym at right now?
At this moment, I'm with Helsingin Tarmo, so it's in Mäkelän Katu. It's a very old, like a athlete club, but maybe in times to come, I'm gonna open my own gym. But it's still
You do private coaching, right?
I do private coaching. You can link me up on Instagram, Boxing
Yeah.
with Rafa, if you're interested to learn. And I think in the future, if God wills, I'm gonna have my own gym. But I'm still working on it.
Inshallah, bro.
Inshallah.
Hey, listen, my guy. Thank you for coming.
Thank you. It was my
People,
pleasure.
you already heard it. Boxing
Boxing with Rafa.
Boxing with Rafa. So hit him up. This guy is gonna give you a lesson, not just in the art of the fists, but in the art of life as well. So appreciate for the people tuning in. This was a fantastic show. I hope I'll have you again.
Inshallah, like I said.
Hey. Listen, thanks for coming, my guy.
Thank you,
and people, peace out. Bless up. This is the Black Buccaneer Show. And once again, JC Radio is taking over the seas. See you soon.
Peace.
Oh Mata yemenakat bota Mata yemenakat bota Fekeye yekadam kapke Mata mata Waye
Anina beki hallo nigana moy